You're listening to the Maryland Fishing Line, a production of the Chesapeake Angler Magazine. And now your host, Brian Rains.
I'm Brian.
I'm Joey.
Welcome, everybody, to Maryland Fishing Line, Episode 12. I almost said Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt, Joey.
I was a little more enthused with that. Hey, I'm Joey, part 2.
Screwed that up. Today is Tuesday, August 11th, in the year 2020. 2020 is going to go down as, like, the worst year ever. You think people have said that in the past about years and been like, eh? Or do you think it's just going to be like, eh? Yeah.
I think those who know in about 20 years will be like, yep.
I was there. Yeah, and the kids will be like, yeah. So this is the podcast where we don't talk too much about coronavirus. We talk about fishing throughout the great state of Maryland. The Maryland Fishing Line is a production of the Angler Magazine, Chesapeake Edition. The Chesapeake Angler can be found throughout southern Maryland and Arundel County and the Eastern Shore. If you would like to see it in your area and it's not there, let me know, and I'll make sure to try to get it somewhere close by. Hey, It's been a busy week.
I did lose all my magazines in the flood of my paddle sports store.
Oh, I gotta get you some more. I'll get you some more.
They were last month's episodes anyway.
Issues. I don't think I've given you this month's yet for the shop.
No,
I need to get you some
because I was putting them in our paddle sports store too.
It has been a busy week. I know you've been fishing.
Oh yeah,
I've been fishing, and the White Marlin Open just wrapped up.
We had a hurricane.
A hurricane come through. It's been a pretty busy week.
Yeah.
But before we talk and take a look at all of that, let's take a look at what's going on around the state. Hey, remember, folks, that all Maryland areas of the Bay and the tidal rivers will be closed to striped bass fishing from August 16th to August 31st to give them a break. Surface temps in the Bay dropped for just a hot little minute after the tropical storm. They're probably right back up in the hot zone by now. But the wind and the water churn from tropical storm Isis did cool some deeper waters. So fish are probably going to be a little harder to find since they have a lot more of the water column to work with. Looking specifically at the striped bass, like I said, striped bass fishing is closing. Just to repeat that, August 16th through the 31st in everywhere. So don't go fishing for them.
Yep.
And, you know, for the next few days leading up to the closure, I mean, it's only 4 or 5 days away. Why don't we just go ahead and stop looking for striped bass? Let's just let them be until September. See you in September. No, I'm not going to sing. If you are going to look for them, though, if the sun's up, it's going to be a tough bite. And why not? Again, one more time. Why don't you go ahead and switch to white perch? Go ahead. You can do it.
There's a couple of them out there.
Mortality rates are high, particularly when you're live lining for a rockfish. So there we
go. Speaking of rockfish, should I even do the rockfish? We just say striped bass. Don't fish from.
I just did that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, you're on to bluefish.
I kind of zoned out thinking about the stripers I caught the other day. Bluefish, hearing some reports of the larger ones in the mix running alongside the Spanish mackerel. And there are still lots of smaller bluefish schooling on the surface, which, by the way, is a great way to find those bigger red drum, as they will typically be underneath all the chaos. But I do hate those smaller bluefish.
They're tail stealers.
Yeah.
Cobia fishing is slowing down some, but if you're going to go look for them, middle grounds, target ship, mud leads, and point lookout. There's some speculation that they could be going into a bit of a spawning mode. So that's probably going to cool off again for a little bit.
They're not cooling off.
Yeah, they're heating up. But they're going to be back again. They're not going anywhere. Once they're done with their fun, they're going to be right back in the mix.
The old redfish and puppy drum, my favorite. Puppy drum are just under minimum size. Puppy drum just under the minimum size are starting to show up everywhere and offer fantastic tackle action. That is true. And
fly tackle.
And as mentioned earlier, they're going to hang out under the big schools of bluefish and Spanish mackerel. Kind of pick up on all that crap going on underneath there.
Hey, black drum. You ever fish for black drum?
Nah, they're kind of fugly.
Yeah.
But they seem fun.
There is a reports out now that there is some mid-sized black drum that are showing up in the Middle Bay And if you're going to eat a black drum, that's probably the size to do it. I know the big ones get kind of wormy and gross. A lot of people like to catch them because they're the size of cars, like a little Volkswagen sitting down there.
Man, all the smaller fish in general are good to eat.
Black drum can often be spotted on your depth finders by their heavy echo signature, which is due to the large air bladder. So if you're cruising along and you mark something that literally looks like a VW sitting on the bottom of the bay, it's probably a big old black drum.
Excuse me. The specks or speckled trouts are continuing to be a marshy. Man, I've only had a beer and a half. It's continued to be a mainstay for shallow water fishermen throwing soft plastics. And remember, grass beds hold the key for specks.
Yeah, I can't say that enough. Spanish mackerel. The Spanish mac bite continues to be hot, but hopefully this influx of fresh water from the storm is not going to push them back. If that doesn't happen, this bite's going to continue straight on into the fall. Be on the lookout for schools of breaking fish. You're going to find the Spanish macs and the bluefish. And then, as we noted earlier, those big red drum are going to be sitting down underneath all the chaos.
Mm-hmm. The white perch and spot. White perch and spot run together and are providing a reliable action during these hot summer months, and nothing has changed there. Which is true. They're freaking everywhere. They're spread throughout the entire Chesapeake Bay and tributaries, and you can usually find their populations to be abundant wherever you find them. You can kind of throw anything from grass shrimp, wild seafood shrimp, which are great for the spot, and some smaller minnows for the perch. And if you can find bloodworms, toss them out there.
Yeah, seriously. That's still an ongoing thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Their shortage.
Rona. You think the worms have got corona?
Croaker, a few small croaker have shown up, but I haven't heard of any keeper size croaker being caught. So please handle those fish quickly and get them back in the water for the future.
The old largemouth. Summer patterns are strong with this fish right about now.
I was doing a whole Star Wars thing there. Summer patterns are strong with this fish right now.
Oh, I didn't really like that. Okay. Sorry, Obi-Wan. Obviously, much like I think about everything now, morning and evening bite is best on topwater because it's also too freaking hot to go out in the middle of the day. Unless you're Brian fishing a tournament.
Yep.
They move to deep water or tight to structure in the day. You got to really fish them soft plastics slow, like a wacky worm or Cinco's, and that'll be your best bet.
Snakeheads continuing to provide great action. Don't be afraid to try someplace new for snakeheads. We've seen it this year. Their range just continues to increase. So if they're somewhere that they weren't in the past and it's kind of connected to somewhere where they're known to be, give it a shot. See what shows up. You won't know until you go. On the eastern shore, Dorchester County, those tidal blackwaters and tributaries to the Nanticoke and Wacomico, and those are your consistent hot spots, as is Conowingo Dam. I heard that that below the spill on Conowingo, they're actually starting to have quite the run.
I mean, they're even in like my toilet bowl now. I mean, they're everywhere. Catfish.
They're there too.
Much like the snakehead, you can find them in Conowingo with the large blue cats and large flatheads. Channel cats are abundant just about all over now. I've actually seen a lot of people catching them as when they're bass fishing lately. All these can be caught on fresh cut baits, chicken livers, clam snouts, and a variety of all their stinky baits, or even some wacky worms you're throwing for bass.
You could, they'd be known to just go after anything. I saw somebody caught one on a chatterbait. Caught a catfish on a chatterbait. What's that all about? I mean, is it literally just like they're everywhere? That's what it is. So the White Marlin Open just wrapped up Sunday night with 2 new tournament record fish and 3 newly minted millionaires. Can you imagine that? Go fishing and walk away a millionaire? You got to put a bunch of cash into it. So I almost feel like
your $2 million boat. You're like, what is it, like $30,000 entry fee, and they're like keep paying out.
They talk so much about newly minted millionaires, but I'm pretty sure that most of the people that are throwing all that cash to all the entries on the White Marlin Open, I'm so dumb I can't even understand the entry form. And I looked at it the other night. It's like, what exactly would you have to pay to get? I can't understand it. So I don't necessarily know that they're newly minted millionaires. And a world record tournament payout. Now, that is the fact. 433 boats registered, and they braved the pandemic and the hurricane Isis to haul in fish that were collectively worth $6.8 million. And that is the most tournament money ever awarded in the sport of fishing. One tournament. That's pretty crazy. The top prize of $1.85 million went to Canyon Blues out of Ocean City, Maryland, for a huge 97-pound white marlin caught by Brandon. Oh, Jesus.
Brandon G.
Brandon G. From Chester, Maryland on Saturday. That fish stands as the third largest white marlin weighed in the 47-year White Marlin Open history. Did you see the pictures of that fish? What a beast. What a beast.
97 pounds, they could do better.
The drilling and billing out of Hatteras weighed a 77-pound white marlin caught Friday by Taylor Fields from Baltimore, Maryland. That fish was good for second place and $1.76 million in
There's not much
prize
separating
money.
first and second money-wise.
Well, it's all about how you bought in.
I mean, forget if you're first or last. I mean, you're second, you're getting over $1 million.
You are not first place loser if you come in second in the White Marlin Open. Rounding out the White Marlin division was the Crisdell out of Isla Mirada, Florida. I got so confused by that.
This is messed up.
With a 77-pound white marlin on Saturday, good for third place and $200,000.
I mean, do you think they could figure out the difference there and kind of split second and third about like a balance?
Dude, it's what levels you bought in at.
That's how it works?
Yeah, that's what makes a difference.
I don't know. I fish out of a kayak, not a 65-foot Hatteras.
I hear that next year they're going to have a kayak division.
Oh, you serious?
No. Serious heart attack. The fish was taken by Frank Criscola from Bedminster, New Jersey. The small boat white marlin winner was Not Right out of Indian River, Delaware, with a 72-pounder worth $100,000. Now, to me, this is where it gets interesting. The tuna division produced the third $1 million winner. So it was $1 million tuna. Okay? The rules state that if no blue marlin is caught, and there were no blue marlins caught, there may have been caught, but they didn't meet the minimum and they weren't brought in. So there was no blue marlin weighed. And so that prize money that would have been for the blue marlin, that prize money goes to the white marlin winners. But the lack of a qualifying blue marlin had an impact on the above white marlin by adding $500,000 to their winnings. But the biggest benefactor of the vacant blue marlin division turned out to be Ocean City's Restless Lady, already winning $900,000 for the 415-pound bluefin brought in Monday. The $417,000 in the blue marlin winner-take-all division defaulted to the biggest tuna entered in at that level, which was also the Restless Lady. That Ocean City boat added that extra money to bring the winnings to over $1.4 million for Travis Ort from York, Pennsylvania. Rounding out the tuna division were Sentient out of Slaughter Creek, Maryland, with a 121-pounder worth $100,000. The Blue Runner from Manasquan, New Jersey, that took $165,000. And the Swordsfish from Indian River, Delaware, that held on to win $150,000 for their 92-pound tuna. The 2020 event saw 2 White Marlin Open record catches, a 47-year-old tournament record 73.5-pound dolphin.
Oh, that's pretty big.
That is a big dolphin. I've caught like 40-plus pound dolphin, and I can't imagine what a 73.5-pound dolphin it was. Okay, wow, that's huge. It was caught Friday by Matt Wagner off the Backlash and was worth $20,000. The second record catch was a 273.5-pound swordfish landed by Kyle G. I'm just going to go there. From Vineland, New Jersey. Gagliardi is a professional bass fisherman who took a busman's holiday. What's a busman's holiday? Do you know that term?
Nope.
I don't know that
I just
term.
want a couple of days off. I need a busman's holiday, it sounds like.
To land the saltwater billfish. Fishing off the Jersey Boy Gagliardi took $375,000 in the tournament big fish category. There were a total of 896 billfish caught during the 7-day event, with 837 of them being released.
Wow.
That's quite the event. Have you ever gone out there and watched it, like the weigh-ins or anything?
No, I wanted to go and take pictures the last couple of years.
Yeah. This was not your to do that.
Maybe it was.
Well,
less crowds.
They weren't letting people down to where they were weighing the fish.
I got a drone.
You had great idea. You had to go. You had to go to like the park and watch it on the stream, which I watched a lot of the stream. Did you watch any of the stream?
A little bit when the boys from Solomon's were coming in.
Yeah, I saw
you
that.
texted me about that.
Rochambeau. I watched some of it a couple of nights, and I know that Jerry was watching it, and Jerry saw that 97-pound white marlin come in. He saw that. It was actually kind of fun to watch. I got a kick out of it. I've always been like when we go down to the Outer Banks, and we would stay close to Oregon Inlet, and it was like in the afternoon, about 3 o'clock, 3:30. You go down to watch the boats come in, and part of the little crowd that travels from back of the boat to the back of the boat watches everybody throw their fish up. Well, it's like a parade. I'd do that a lot. So back with the kids, we'd take the little kids down there and watch the fish come in, and then before the boats come in, because there's so much chum that goes in the water right there. You go down there and you just throw little chunks of whatever fish you caught on the beach out there and just play with rockfish all day long. You just catch the striper all day. So I am switching over to looking at what we got going on YouTube. I am currently working on another video that should be released in the next couple of days. But please don't forget our August monthly giveaway has multiple ways to enter. And the prize for this month is a $25 Bass Pro Shops gift card. Although Bass Pro Shops doesn't actually have anything.
Yeah.
Jerry gave us a report that he went up to the one outside of Baltimore, and there's like these shelves are empty. But I'll say this. I went in there looking for a couple of things, and they didn't have them. And then I went online, and I got them online, and they showed up at the house in a couple of days. I think they're just not sending the inventory to the stores.
That's how I did at Best Buy the other day with a laptop.
Yeah, because everybody's just buying stuff online. You can go to our Facebook page for Chesapeake Angler Magazine, look for the tab on the left that says August 2020 giveaway, and you can click that and enter, or you can visit a very long link that I will put in the show notes. I am not even going to attempt to read that out here.
You want to hear some bad YouTube comments?
Yeah, you got some YouTube
Some
comments?
guy said, "Hey, what? A waste of time on your videos." I just think it's funny.
I wouldn't disagree with him on that one.
And then someone says, "I wouldn't call that a big snakehead, but fun video." I'm like, come on, people. It's just freaking... you got a lot of great feedback, though.
Yeah.
People love your kayak setup. They like the videos. They want to keep seeing them coming. This model ship said, "I really like it. I add movies every week." Oh, that's about him. Never mind. What is this? What's a YT friend?
I don't know. Where are you? I don't even know where you're.
Life with Aaron. He said, "Love it, man. Keep killing it. Love your channel." I think got a lot of great feedback. You did have the one I saw earlier. That one girl wrote, I'm assuming it's like a bot.
Oh,
Says,
yeah.
"I'm single." And you said something back like, "Oh, that's great. Now you don't have to ask permission to go fishing." which is the best comeback ever.
They put the picture of themselves in the very provocative, the bots do, with a woman, and she's very proud and says, "I'm single," and I usually delete them, but I decided just to have a little fun.
That one's pretty good. I went fishing for the comment back.
That's right. That's right.
But,
and I did our most recent comment here from Ryan. I actually met him at Seven Ponds yesterday when I was fishing.
Oh, nice.
Coming out in the dark, and he had been back at the very far back pond looking for snakehead, which is the place to go. And
See the one you signed his forehead?
Yeah, no. No, it was actually nice to meet you, Ryan. Thanks for saying hello. I tossed some stickers his way, and maybe we'll get to catch up again. He was talking about doing a float down Mattawoman, where they were going to put in up there where Hawthorne Road crosses at that little launch, and then drop a car down at Mattawoman Creek Road and kind of do a float down, and then flip it around back there. So it's a great idea. Great way to go about doing that. Any others you want to pull out of here?
I had to get out of the what do you call that? The studio, because it kind of threw me off. Maybe because I don't know how to read it yet. More big bass and snakehead. Someone really liked Fishing with Lou. Really liked on one of your snakehead videos the jump it had.
Yeah,
I think it was the one that pretty much shut out.
Yeah.
Explore 8734. So it was a gorgeous bass. Also the snakehead got some distance because that thing did. Rhino Fishing TV said very nice couple of fish, Brian. Nice chunk, Brian.
That's a channel.
That's about right.
That is a channel to check out.
Oh, yeah.
Rhino. That's Darren. He does a great job. Fishes the lake a lot. Fishes the lake a whole lot. So
no,
cool.
Good feedback.
If you are looking for the magazine, the August issue is on the streets. And I'll be honest with you, Joey, I'm having a hard time keeping them in places.
That's good.
I put all the stock out. It's all out there. And I did my pickups for last month.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally, it was probably tens of magazines. That's it. I mean, so people are grabbing whatever. I guess they maybe were afraid that toilet paper was going to come around again as a problem. They were just trying to grab the free paper. I don't know. But since August is on the street, that means we're working already towards our September issue, and we need bragboard pics. So if you want to see your catch in print, please send them to the email address theanglerchesapeake@gmail.com. Make sure to include a byline and that you have attached the highest resolution suitable for printing. And if you do happen to send them from your phone, please double check and make sure that it is the largest file size possible. It happens inevitably every month. You get a great picture of somebody's kid and look at the file size and it's 81K and it's literally like 150 pixels by, it's because they went off their phone and the phone is going to try to compress it and make it as small as possible for the to get moved out. So just double check that and send us that. So you've been fishing this week. Yeah. I've been fishing this week. What's going on in your world, Joey?
Man, I was just going through your last video there. You got a lot of great comments.
Yeah, people are really kind.
You got a lot of comments coming in.
Yep. I try to engage my audience and talk to people, and
maybe I'll take some videos sometime.
It's actually been I really enjoyed doing the YouTube channel. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a lot of work.
Let's say the funny thing was like Saturday night, the night I had a great fishing, I was like, oh, I'm going to take all my stuff. I'm going to take some videos. That totally is a lot. I know it's a lot of work.
It's so much work. I spend so much time when I'm setting up my kayak, and you just want to get fishing.
Yeah,
you just want to get out and start fishing.
I'm too impatient,
and so I've got 2 cameras to set up, and you got to make sure the battery works, and inevitably one of them will disconnected, and you got to tinker with it and fart around with it. And the Hero 8 has like all sorts of issues with overheating, so you have to play with that a lot. But you know what? You know who I learned something from?
Jerry.
No, Dustin Klein.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin Klein does gravel bike videos. Mm-hmm. And he had a whole video on how he does his videos, which is awesome. But the takeaway for me from all of that is what would you do for the shot? What are you willing to do? And so I think about that every time I start to lament like cameras okay, I'll tell you what I did yesterday. I had just bought a new Whopper Plopper, one of the big fat ones, the 75s.
Did you put a GoPro on it?
No. No, it was worse because those things are like those are like $13 for those things, right? And I went back and to turn a cast, and it caught the GoPro pole on the front, and it literally split that Whopper Plopper right in two. I think I'd cast that bait 4 times or something like that. So I don't know. It is. It's a lot of work, but it's really well worth it. And I meet and talk to a lot of people. And if you ever see me out on the water, I mean, the kayak's pretty noticeable. Make sure to say hello because I carry stickers in there. Did I ever given you stickers?
I got Chesapeake Angler stickers right before you made your first, as soon as you started.
I got new stickers now.
Yeah.
No, I got new stickers now.
I'll put on my kayak.
Yeah, I'll get you a whole bunch of them. Anybody else want stickers, let me know. And,
stickers.
We'll get them your way. So anyway, what's going on in your world, Joey?
Well, Saturday it was like a quick, all right, am I going to go fishing? Then I was like, oh, I'm going to take camera stuff out. Obviously I had it, but I did nothing. And I don't know, I just had a good feeling. And I had one of the best nights, I think, fishing this year, just overall. Everything was right. I had a good tide. Wind was, I always want just a little bit of wind.
Sure.
So it wasn't stagnant.
Yeah.
But did my typical, I do this almost a similar pattern every time I go out. It's like where I hit, where I start, where I want to go. But I set out with...
It's rhythm, man. That's good. Rhythm.
I changed it up a little bit, and I said, every place I go, I want to catch a puppy drum at. And I did. So I hit the normal spots. I kind of ventured over to Bat Creek a little bit. Caught like 3 or 4 of them over there. My first one that night was actually pretty big, like 12, 13 inches,
Yeah.
which is getting bigger because you get some of the ones that are little, but then I had a decent sized one and I was pretty proud of that. And
Saw the pictures of that. That's a pretty fish.
worked my way around. And as I got towards the mouth of the creek at the harbor, I was fishing the flat there. And actually, you could see rock like stripers rolling. They're like kind of like boiling the surface. Nothing huge action wise, but I was like, oh, this is, and it's starting to get like the sun was down, so it's starting to get dark. I probably had like 10, 15 minutes of like solid fishing left.
Yeah.
of daylight.
What did we say earlier? If the sun's up, forget about it.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, this looks awesome because I'm basically on the river by that point in time, and it's looking good. So I threw on a spook and another different popper, and it was exciting. I know I've been saying I wasn't fishing for him, but it was dark.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I couldn't pass up the opportunity.
No.
And it was just fun to catch him again. You get a couple, and I think my biggest one was like 23 or so.
Well, I know. I'm going to say this too because I know because I fish with you, is that you respect the fish more than a lot of people I've ever known.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, so I know that you won't take them out of the water if you don't have to.
I think I took the one out to take the picture.
Yeah.
I got a great net now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty careful.
You're very careful. With
It
the
was,
fish. You handle them with great respect, and I appreciate that. Everybody does. Everybody should at least.
And it was, it was the top water hit I wanted. It wasn't like I knew 100% they were there. I mean, I was searching for them, but you could see them rolling. You could see the boils, and there were some pretty big fish. I'm surprised I didn't catch anything bigger. And all these big boats are passing me, and I'm blowing up the fish in my little kayak. And I'm like, yeah, suckers.
That's awesome.
Started to get dark. I kind of worked my way to my spot I love in the creek where there's some lights and a big pier. And I swear it was like third or fourth cast. I nailed a huge, I consider like starting to get a big red, like you consider a redfish on a puppy drum. And I think it was around 16 inches or so, but that fought harder than anything other thing in its class.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It was better than largemouth. It was way better than a striper. And as soon as I could kind of see it, because it was dark at that point in time, like my heart was just racing. I was like, oh my God, like I got it. I got my net out. And I almost missed it like 3 times with the net because it was taking huge runs. I was like, holy cow, I'm excited to catch something in the mid-20s of these things again.
Yeah.
Because I think I've only nailed a couple, but
That's
I was
awesome,
excited. I was like, I got to go somewhere. I actually, did not get a good picture of that thing at all. I got a couple where it's out, but it's just pitch black.
Yeah.
I got some lights behind me. So that goes by. Couple little stripers here and there, pretty decent. And stripers were definitely working hard that night, like more than I've seen. They were chasing bait around, but not on the surface a lot.
Well, you know what I think that is? It's so hot during the day that they're done. They're not doing anything during the day.
They're starting to get active.
So they have to feed like furiously in the evening.
And I'm back and forth between the fly rod with some shrimp fly, some clousers, and like a paddle tail and a little jig head. Same thing, decent lower 20s for the stripers. And then on my fly rod, I caught, it must have been mid-ish 20s redfish. And like my heart was really, I was like, this is a picture. Like I'm gonna break the law. I'm gonna trespass on this little beach over here, and I'm gonna get my picture and have someone. I was so excited, and then I snapped the tip of my fly rod while I was fighting it, like about that much. And the funny thing is,
about 8 inches. It looks like.
It wasn't my fly rod. My friend Dennis, who I went up to New York with to go trout fishing this year, let me borrow it to I want like a nice 6 weight for around here, which is a size of fly rod for those people who are interested and know about fly fishing, but it's like my perfect fly rod. I loved it. And I've had it for like a month and a half, and I was going to go see Dennis to work on one of my reels spooling up on Monday. I was like, Dennis is meticulous. I was like, I got to clean this one, Sunday night, Saturday night. It's like, I shouldn't even use it, and snapped it. And what I probably did at some point in time was I probably hit the rod with a clouser with one of the bead dumbbell eyes, nicked it, and I put a weak spot in the rod, which I've done before.
What's the material on that rod?
Graphite.
Graphite.
Yeah. And I snapped it. But I snapped it on a really good fish.
Yeah.
Like I was.
That's a whole lot better than snapping in your door.
Yeah,
of your
closing
car.
my door, rolling up a window on it. So I kind of sat there for a few minutes, like, oh, what am I going to do? I checked on. So it's I like Scott fly rods, and Scott just kind of makes nicer to upper end fly rods. So they have a great program. Like they'll literally fix everything you got. It's a small fee. You might pay shipping, but for the people buying it new, they're $700-800. I'm not buying it new, but they don't care. They figure you're fishing one of their rods. Yeah, take care of you.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason I like them. So they got something behind them. I like St. Croix stuff too, but I've broken a St. Croix and it was more of a hassle.
Well, there you go. There it is, right there.
Yeah.
You spend the money, you expect, and you get the service. You're going to go back to it again. Yeah.
There's a guy, Joe Cap, on the Eastern Shore that does. He builds all types of rods, but he's a big fly fisherman too. And he makes spinning and trolling rods. But I did break one of his like 10 years ago at Cedar Point with a Clouser, and he took care of me like with the best care possible.
Nice.
Fixed it for me, had it fixed up. We met at a fly fishing show. He's like, "Here's your rod back," and it was like cost nothing. I felt bad.
Yeah.
But he built it for me off of St. Croix blank, but no, it was, man, that was like, I could go over the whole night, but I had a blast, and it was one of those last minute decisions. I caught little puppy drum everywhere, and then Sunday night after I like almost blew my house up trying to install a light,
which looks great, by the way.
You see the smoke a little bit around there?
Yes, I can.
Turns out it wasn't me. I just anyway, bad wiring from the old people. Went out Sunday.
Previous homeowners, not old people.
Yeah,
or maybe
previous homeowners. And actually, my neighbor installed my old light. He was telling me all about it. I installed it for. I was like, all right. I didn't tell him. I almost burned the place down because of him. So Sunday night was like, all right. I was all amped, and it was just. I mean, I probably caught 12 perch and a puppy drum, but that was it.
So you can't repeat it. You can't,
no,
yeah.
And that's fishing. That's saltwater fishing. Mm-hmm. That's fishing the tides, the moon, the wind. The jagaloon I sent you the picture of that just totally front-ended me the whole night, like in 4 spots, and finally, because in that little pocket right there,
was that over by the power boats? Yeah.
Yep, and he totally saw me in there, and we probably got from like here to the couch apart.
Well, I told you it fixes
what
that.
What are you doing? Yeah.
I told you it fixes that.
And I think I don't know if he was trying to pull the whole. I couldn't clock him with a spook.
That's
right
what was
in the back of the head.
A Zero spook cast poorly would solve that problem.
And he's got an old clankety motor just running the whole time, and I was like, it killed us place the whole night, I think, because of that. And I'm over there in a nice quiet kayak, and I'm kind of one of those people. I do think boat motors can scare off stuff.
Oh yeah.
A totally different night. I called it kind of early, but I stayed out the other night till like 10:30.
Yeah, we were that night that you really got into the fish. Jerry was over at my house. We were sitting out.
And
on
you
the
guys
deck.
were drinking.
Yeah, and I remember at one point he actually said, "Well," he said, "we haven't seen any pictures from Joey. That either means he didn't get into the fish or he's still fishing." And it wasn't like literally like 10 minutes later you texted like the first pictures of your fish.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, there it is.
I was on the creek till 10:30.
So you didn't actually when you broke the fly rod, the fish got off. You didn't.
I was more like I broke in. It's this fly rod.
So you gave up on the fish, or was it
by the time I had something happen? Just the fish got off.
Okay.
Slacking the line. It was more like I was like, I have to save the tip of this rod.
Yeah.
Let's worry about that. It's just a fish. This is an
That's
expensive
too bad.
fly rod.
that is too bad, because I know that you've talked about getting on that mid-20 rod redfish.
It's there
months now.
I know they're there now. I know there's some bigger ones in the creek.
Yeah.
Just gotta keep after it. You gotta keep on keeping on.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Maybe I'll do some video one time. But I think what you were saying about all the setup is, I think I'm too antsy, and that's why I don't have stuff on my kayak. But I did realize the other night, and I told Jess, like, I really have to figure out my kayak.
Yeah.
Like, I take a couple bags, I throw it all in there, and then halfway through the night, I'm so unorganized.
You should see my boat.
It's just there's shit everywhere.
You should see. There's trash in my boat.
Oh. Well, it's even like my bag is not organized anymore.
Here's my problem, and this is the way because the KBF tournaments run from the 1st of the month to the 21st.
Yeah.
So literally, that's all I focus on for that window of time. And then, but when the 21st rolls around, I take that reprieve and I clean the boat up. I, straighten up my tackle. I, reline everything, respool rods, and kind of do all that stuff in that downtime. Yeah. I should take more care though during.
Yeah, I need to take care of my boat.
I'm remiss in that, I will admit.
I do. Maybe I'll make it for the angler, Chesapeake Angler YouTube. I want to do 100% putting electronics in your kayak for dummies. There's a lot of great videos on how to do it, but there is no you have no idea what you're doing kind of video. Because I'm gonna, I need to go find a battery this week. I'm gonna put in a battery. I'm going to put in a switch, and I'm going to put navigational lights and lights inside my kayak.
So the battery I would recommend, Dakota Lithium.
Yeah.
Hands down. I mean, it's about $100 with a 10 amp hour.
Yeah, but can I run a low rants with that too in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see?
That's when I run my fish finder on. I haven't charged. I think in this season since I've had that, I think I may have charged it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it runs trip after trip after trip, and I'll finally go, oh my goodness, I'll look at it because I keep the voltage on the screen. Yeah. I'll go, oh, it's getting low, I need to charge it. And that's really the only time, but I can probably get a week of fishing out of the battery before I have to deal with it.
That's a lot. I mean, that's probably like a month for me.
Since it's lithium, you can completely discharge the battery, whereas with lead acid, even though they're cheaper, you're really only supposed to 50% discharge them before you put the juice back in it. So, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
And I got one of the best kayaks out now that was set up for running electronics.
Yeah, you got it all ready.
So it's ready. I don't drill. I mean, I need to actually order So Amazon, everyone uses these lights off. Amazon, I'm not going to drill them into the boat because it's at the water line. I want to put navigational up front, and I do want to put, because usually I'm out in the dark when I go. Yeah. I'm going to put some LEDs inside the cockpit area. And then when I'm ready to run a low rants unit.
Put like red lights in there so you can done ruin your night vision.
Well, there's some that you can get to change 8 colors.
Yeah.
So
you fish out of that kayak out in that water after dark more than probably anybody I know.
Oh yeah, people look at me like I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, man, but I mean, I guess my quick rundown is over the last, I would say, month or 3 weeks, fishing the creeks. Obviously, fish the normal. I'm fishing, and I'm not using any type of fish finder unit, but I'm fishing the edges that I know of. I'm fishing the points. I'm fishing the shallow where it's transitioning. And for light tackle, I'm just throwing paddle tails with quarter ounce jig heads and those little Mr. Twister tails have been working great. And I've been catching 3 or 4 species a night on that.
So you've been fishing that water out there. You've got a lot of time on that water, so you know that water.
And it's not hard.
A lot of people look at water differently. I mean, it's you say it's not hard, but it's because you put the time on the water.
I put the time there, but
then you know it.
But I mean, light tackle wise, that stuff's been working great.
Yeah.
And the little I ran out of them because they were kind of old. The little mini Strike King spinnerbaits. Those have been fun. I mean, I was catching puppy drum on those and stripers and a lot of perch. The problem, I have a lot of them, but they've been sitting for a couple of years. So some of the rubber bands are dry rotted.
Yeah.
And I got new rubber bands, and I mean, they're $7 spinnerbaits.
Yep.
I got to fix. That's my rundown. I'm hoping to get out in a couple different areas before next episode. For some actual redfish
I'd like to join you for something.
I want to go down to St. Jerome's again in St. George.
I'd like to join you for that. Even though I'm in the midst of KBF, I have approached August a little differently, and I'm not kind of hardcore in it as I've done in the past. I think in June, I think I fished every single day. It felt
you did
every single day. It felt like, but.
That's a lot of miles on your car and time.
Yeah,
and
because you're getting Charles County.
Your body's getting tired and
back and forth and back and forth.
I mean, all the stuff that you're not actually fishing to get to before and after. That's all. That's got to wear on you.
Yep. So the August KBF challenge is full underway, and I would classify fishing in August as been tough for me. I was talking to Eddie over at Wolford Store in Cambridge. I was delivering some magazines and we weren't able to connect, so I gave him a call, and he was sort of lamenting the same thing. He's like, August has been so weird.
Yep.
It's like the places where the fish are supposed to be, when they're supposed to be, they haven't been there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you've got to invest some time in what you might have in the past considered a waste. And so I took that to heart today, and I fished Mallows Bay in sort of noon. But anyway, I've scored 3 fish so far for August in just a couple of really short outings. I put a 17 3/4 and a 12 1/4 on the board a couple of days ago. And today, Joey, I caught the skinniest, it was 17 1/4 inch fish. And I'm so glad that we in KBF go by length and not weight, because this fish would have had a hard time making 1.5 pounds. It didn't have shoulders. It had sunken shoulders. It had a sunken belly. It looked like it had a giant head on like a skinny fish body, like a much different fish. I actually kind of felt guilty for tricking him with a worm, because he's obviously in need of food. I felt like I should have gone and bought him a Big Mac or something. Put him on
the Whoppers are 2 for $5 right
now. Yeah, I should have gotten some of those. But and I posted that on the KBF page. I was like, look at this fish. And somebody made a comment that, it could very well be that fish had eaten a lot of plastics, and it had gotten blocked up, and it wasn't processing food. And because it didn't even take the bait healthy. It kind of, Mallows Bay right now is so.
Is that where you were?
Yeah, today. It was so thick with hydrilla. Like when you come out of the basin, when you're going north, there is literally only about a kayak's width of water to get through to get back to that little back bend where all those laydowns are, which is where he was. And I was fishing a little wacky worm like right on the edges of that grass, down in that grass a little bit. And he took it, and it felt like I just got hung up in the grass, and I was just pulling it back into the boat. And then there was a fish on the other end of it. So I felt kind of like a cheater almost. That big 17 3/4 from Seven Ponds, he actually dove into the hydrilla, and I had to pull him out. He was sitting in deep water and took a wacky worm Senko. I think it was like black and blue, and there was no doubt about him. He had shoulders. That fish had big shoulders, and he took off with it right into that grass, and I had to go chase him back out and pull him back out. So it's been a weird August. I think I'll get a couple more fish, and if I can stay on the 17-inch train, then I'll do okay. I'll get in there. But I actually fished outside at Mallows today, so back on the little south side, where those trees over are on the south side. I fought through the grass, and I got to the opening over on the other side, which was up next to the bank, because you could actually see that there was a spot where there was no hydrilla. That water was so clear back in there that it was probably 3 feet of water, and I could watch the shadow from my bait on the bottom. That's how clear that water was inside that hydrilla. So
nice.
It was a long day for one fish, but I'm putting fish on the board, so that's kind of all that matters. And I had a good day, fishing in the middle of the day. And I was just saying that, fish at times in the places that you may not think were the best, and that actually then ended up producing for me. Didn't have anything back up in the weeds. I heard a lot of snakehead back up in the grass rolling around and rumbling. The water was up. It had a south wind pushing water up in, so the water was it wasn't high, but it also wasn't low. So that's it for me. I would very much like to, though, get out with you if it's before.
Yeah, but look at
this,
this, though.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're covering freshwater, I'm covering saltwater.
Yeah.
Keeping it mixed up.
I do need to kind of mix some things up a little bit. I'd love to actually.
I do want to go down the St. George. Maybe I need to ask my dad too. Maybe Sunday or Monday. Oh, Monday I got a doctor's appointment. Maybe Sunday. Early.
Fight the crowd.
And puppy drum.
Fight the crowd. Is that ever crowded down there?
No.
Okay. Well, let's do that.
No, that way's quiet. So is St. Jerome's.
You got anything else you want to yak about?
Yak about. Actually, I
You see what I
just got told I was getting allocated a couple native kayaks over in the next month or two, which is huge news. And they get to tell me what I can pick from. and it's going to be like a couple Titan 12s.
We have the new native plywood. It's just a piece of plywood with
floats
with some oil drums on the bottom of it.
It comes with a Wilson volleyball.
Somebody would probably buy it.
Well, son.
As desperate as people. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
New natives are coming to the Patuxent Adventure Center, so if you're interested, maybe you should jump on that. Give old Joey a call.
Oh, man. I'm hoping to get a couple Titan 12s.
Hey,
Everyone wants one.
I wrote some this or that's.
You did? I like them.
Yeah. Okay, so first item on this week's this or that. Joey, I'm going to actually start this by handing it over to you after I ask the question. You answer it, and then I will give you the right or correct answer. The first this or that for this week, baitcaster or spinning reel?
Depends on the application.
Okay. There's always got to be clarification.
I fish a lot of, my dad's super into bait casters, so I've had a couple as I grew up. I do like spinning. I know it's not the cool bass thing to do.
Yeah.
But if I'm fishing a worm and stuff, I like a bait caster.
Yeah.
I feel more one with the rod.
I think you are right. I was probably an unfair assessment on my pant.
Like jigging, when I used to fish the power plant a lot, I did like using a bait caster. I don't know. There's something about a nice Shimano spinning reel.
So smooth. So smooth.
I'm gonna go spinning reel.
Yeah. So I think that really was the question. It's not which one, because they both have their correct places to be used, and you just nailed it. I mean, big 7-foot, medium heavy action bait caster for when you're pulling a fish with 40-pound braid. When you're pulling fish out of that hydrilla, that's the rod you want to use. But I think which one do you prefer to use? Now, for me, I would agree it's hands down. It's a spinning reel. I like the feel of it. It's what I grew up doing. I mean, everybody starts with it.
Or a Zepco 33.
Closed face spinner, baby.
That's a nice reel. For a little, what do they even call those?
It's a closed face spinning reel.
Yeah. Oh, you just said that.
Yeah, closed face spinning reel.
I love the 33s.
I was waiting for you to balk at that and go fly rod.
I'm not that kind of fly fisherman.
I know, because you carry both when you go out to fish.
I never... Yeah. There's a couple times earlier I was like, I have to catch a big bass on a fly rod, so I didn't take a spinning rod.
I mean, if you really need to... Your situation calls for the ability to really set a hook, and hands down a bait caster is, that connection to the fish is tight.
Maybe.
I
don't want to toot my own horn, but my biggest striper is like 44 inches on a 2500 Shimano reel, like a 6-foot at the power plant.
Wow.
I had no problem with that thing.
Fun.
It was fun, but that's how we fished the power plant.
Yeah.
That's how everyone did. With like 2-ounce jig heads, like a big ass BKD. But you have a lot of guys fishing small bait casters and small spinning reels for that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, a good Shimano spinning reel.
Hard to beat.
It's hard to beat.
Hard to beat.
Or a Zepco 33.
So,
not either.
Next item on this or that. This one's kind of fun. Would you rather fish wrong-handed, meaning your reel is on the wrong side, or I'm going to force you to use a spinning reel upside down like a dork? You see those in the stock photography? That drives me crazy.
It's kind of like that in the bike industry with bike forks. It's funny because I fish my fly rods backwards.
Do you really?
I don't know why. If I'm reeling, I reel back. I reel with my right hand. No, wait. It makes me... I always had to think. I fish my fly rods backwards, and everyone wonders why. Not like upside down, but...
You cast with you hold
I cast with my right hand, but I reel with... I switch it.
And then you reel
I'm
with
right-hand dominant, where most people would... You cast with your right hand, you don't want to switch your rod, so you're going to hold the rod with your right hand and reel with your left.
Mm-hmm.
It's just normal. With my fly rods, I cast with my right, and if I hook a fish and put on the reel, I switch hands and reel with my right hand.
Oh, that is unusual.
It doesn't make sense, but it also I find really good reel deals because a lot of these companies, like this one right here, it's a swanky reel I got for nothing because no one's buying it right hand retrieve.
Okay.
I mean, I paid like nothing for it because of that, and I don't know. I just got used to it.
So I really don't know.
Now you got to think about it.
Yeah, I cast with the rod in my right hand, and then I turn the crank with my left hand. But I see a lot of people with bait casters that they switch their hands and they go the other way. I can't do that.
And I think my bait casters were.
I'm left hand retrieve on my bait caster.
Are you?
Yeah. left-hand retrieve on my bait casters,
So
and
you don't switch hands?
I don't switch hands. And my spinner rods are also left-hand. But, those are so easy because you can switch them.
Oh, this is
That's
this is just like my...
Yeah.
See, all my bait casters are set up like this.
That's right-hand retrieve.
And I think that translated to my fly rod stuff.
Okay.
So it doesn't make sense.
So you cast with your right hand, and then you switch and reel with your right hand?
No, I gotta think about it. I just know I'm backwards, and everyone makes fun of me.
So, or do you actually cast with your left hand?
No, I cast with my right hand.
So you cast with your right hand, then you switch hands, and then you.
So usually with a fly rod, I'm still in my right hand. I'm stripping, but if I get a fish at a decent size, kind of like the reds the other night, I actually take the rod, I switch to my left hand, and then I have the line on the reel, so there's no line sitting out.
Okay.
And then I am reeling.
Huh.
But this is kind of, all my other ones are set like bait casters are set up like this.
So
But my spinning reels are this way.
So,
This has gotten to a really deep conversation.
That is you do
I'm a
it-
little messed up.
Yeah, you're. I'm not even gonna say what that is. I don't know what that is. That's squirrely, Dan.
I just had a bait caster sitting on my drawer.
You got a bait caster sitting behind you, and you had a fly rod.
Well, I just fixed those.
Well, suffice it to say that neither one of us, I think we'd both rather fish wrong-handed than to use a spinning reel upside down.
Do you want to hear bad luck, though?
Why?
I broke my fly rod the other night, and I dropped this and busted the reel seat the night before that.
God.
Like, this thing is definitely crooked.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell.
Oh,
but
I can see it.
It doesn't fit on a rod.
I can see it.
They make new ones for like $30. I got to order.
Oh my goodness.
That's my reminder to order it tomorrow.
Oh,
Man, we got into that one.
yeah. That went into like a
That is
real
some
discussion.
quality content right there. People are yelling at us. We might have lost like one listener.
One of our 100. And our numbers are good. We were talking about that before the podcast. You were wondering how many people. I think on the actual podcast side, the statistics are all over the map.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Knew
But
that from the bike one.
yeah, with Podbean, though, we're probably getting about 50 or 60 up to 70 listens per episode in the first month. And then, but also on YouTube, some of those things have popped up to like 100 views or on the YouTube podcast audio. And we're going to start doing video here pretty soon. But both of us, we look at that. We just passed 66,000 listens on the bike one.
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty big.
We're doing pretty well over there.
We're more famous here than Captain Kangaroo.
Ooh. Hey, you got anything else before we shut this thing down, Joey?
No, and my goal is to fish just so I have content.
Good deal.
Maybe I'll try a video.
Hey, folks, if you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Angler Magazine Chesapeake. On Instagram, you can find the magazine at Chesapeake Angler, and you can find me at BN Rains. And Joey, how do they find you?
I am at Joey Sikorsky T4 or Pack Pedals on the gram.
On YouTube, we talked a lot about the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Chesapeake Angler. Pretty easy to find us there. And, of course, you can read the e-magazine online at ChesapeakeAnglerMag.com, or you can just pop into one of many different places. I should put together a list of where we distribute. I've done that in the past.
Don't you have it?
Yeah, I have it. I have
It's
it
on
in
your
the
website,
past.
right?
It's
It's somewhere, or it's in the magazine.
It was in the magazine. I ran it a couple of months ago. But there's some I kind of like to promote more than others. I put bigger numbers in certain places. So
We went through a lot of them instantly with a flood.
great consumption there.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. The fish want to read them too.
Yeah. We might have had fish in there. I don't know. We definitely had sewer.
We've talked about that. I'm not sure that we hit it here. You had your paddle sports shop was
about
flooded
5
down
feet
at
of water in there.
Macintosh Run when Hurricane
But the
Isis-
boats floated.
Yeah, that's what
We
they're supposed
actually
to do.
didn't have any boats. We actually prepped, but we had a lot of water damage.
Okay, folks. Until next week, get out there and get bent, and we'll talk to you next week. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.